Yeah, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Slightly later start time tonight, but we are here with some very good and very exciting news for Manchester United. That is Dan Ashworth, sporting director, officially through the door, and he is starting work immediately. Immediate start for Dan Ashworth, which is going to be really important for us guys. You know, having the people in charge of our sporting control, having the people who are going to be taking the club in a new direction, in a new path, under new ownership in as early as possible for the first transfer window can only be a good thing. This can only be a good thing for Manchester United, and it does look like we've managed to get a pretty good deal. The £20 million that was talked about initially by Newcastle United, what they were looking for a fee, has come well and truly down, and it looks to be somewhere between 2.5 to 6 million is what I'm seeing online. So very, very happy with that. There one does look like we're making progress on some summer deals as well, which is always a big plus. As well. So that is, of course, Ugarte, that is Xerxi, and that is, of course, De Ligt as well. What's up to Rajat? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Much appreciated. Good to see you guys. And yeah, look, it's been a pretty exciting day for the club. You know, new kit launched today. Not too bad looking. I've seen us have worse kits in recent times, but yeah, look, I think Ashworth coming in is a really big one. I think that's really important for us in the way we want to go. I have Rajat down below, De Ligt, and maybe another level above Branthwaite. Possibly, I mean, I like Branthwaite. I've liked Branthwaite all season. I think that's a real top centre-back for the future, and I would really want us to get him. But this De Ligt one's kind of interesting because, look, 5 years ago, De Ligt was maybe one of the best young talents in all of Europe in any position, let alone centre back, and for him to be potentially available for the reported £42.5 million does seem to be quite a good deal. Rajat's going to get some food. Good on you, buddy. I actually had to wait on my food. That's why the stream is 15 minutes late, because I was waiting for food to come. But we're sorted now. We're all good. But yeah, look, I'm pretty happy with the Dan Ashworth signing, and whenever it comes to De Ligt, it's an interesting one. I think it's going to come down to wages for me. I think on Bayern he's on something like 230, 240 grand a week. Hopefully there's a reduction in there, because that's quite a lot of money for United to be paying when we're already trying to balance out our wage budgets. You know, we've just let Varane go, so yes, that's a big contract we could maybe offer out, but I think the initial plan for the club going forward needs to be getting people in maybe on lower salaries, maybe players coming in for a little bit cheaper so that we can build a team. And then if we need to add, you know, the big star players, you're going to command a lot of wages. We can do that later down the line when we're ready for it. Not that I don't want to sign in good players, it's just I think that right now we need floor raisers rather than ceiling raisers. You know, we need to raise our minimum level before we attack the maximum level, getting people who can win us trophies almost single-handedly, you know, scoring 30, 40 goals in a season, whatever that might be. You know, I think at the moment we need to raise our levels from, let's be honest, let's be frank, last season we were 8th place. We were close to mid-table, despite the fact we've won the FA Cup. It was still a very poor season, all things considered. So, you know, we got to raise the floor so that our minimum level on a bad season results in us maybe finishing 4th place and getting Champions League. I think that has to be, you know, the first protocol that we're going for, and the first objective maybe that we're trying to achieve with our club. Good evening to you, Shade. Good to see you, buddy. Xavi Simons agrees terms with Bayern Munich. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. Xavi Simons, it was a weird one, and he's had some very odd moves. Going to PSG initially maybe wasn't the best move. Certainly going back there after leaving and joining PSV for a season didn't really make a lot of sense, but very young player, got a lot of talent, and I'm sure he'll do well at Bayern Munich if he's given the opportunities to play. Whilst we are on the subject of Bayern, let's get talking about Matthijs de Ligt. So this story came in initially from Dan Shelton, who writes, of course, for The Athletic. So pretty good source, pretty reliable. Now, he's not what I'm going to call David Ornstein level reliable, but I will listen to what The Athletic say. They do tend to get most things spot on. And he is saying that United are in face-to-face talks with Bayern Munich for Matthijs de Ligt. Now, I'm not 100% convinced on the deal, and the main reason I would say I'm not convinced probably boils down to two things. Firstly, before we even look at wages, before we even look at fees and monies and stuff, I'm concerned about his injury record. That's maybe my biggest concern with Matthijs de Ligt, is going to be his injury record. Played 32 matches last season in all competitions for Bayern. Missed, I think, somewhere around 12 to 15 matches. We already have Lisandro Martinez, who is questionable in terms of his availability, which hopefully is going to improve next season, but we do have to have that concern as well moving forward. So it's going to be an interesting one, this De Ligt one. Around 50 million euros seems to be the price that is being touted by Bayern Munich. Not a bad price for a player of his caliber. You know, there is a good player in there, make no mistake about it. I just think the injuries are the big one for me, you know, even before we look at fees and money and stuff. But Plenty Gold says Bayern Munich are demanding 50 million euros for Matthijs de Ligt. His agent, Rafaela Pimenta, is in direct touch with MUFC to find an agreement, so that's coming from German sources. Also, Rob Dawson of ESPN had wrote that United are stepping up their pursuit of Matthijs de Ligt. And look, make no mistake about it, if we can get de Ligt in and he can manage to stay fit, then I think you got a real good player. Who will know what Erik ten Hag wants from his right centre backs, will come in. You know, we've seen him for Ajax, leading that team at 18, 19 years old, captaining the team. It's crazy to think about. De Ligt played against United in the 2017 Europa League final. You know, that's how young he burst onto the scene at Ajax. And since then, I don't think it's really happened for him. Both moves to Juventus and to Bayern Munich haven't quite been what they would have wanted, but bringing in at least one centre-back is said to be key to United's summer strategy. The Bundesliga giants signed Kim Min-jae last summer from Napoli and are keen to bring in Jonathan Tah, which could spell the end of Matthijs de Ligt at Bayern Munich. But there is also talk as well. United been open for offers for both Lindelof and Harry Maguire. If we do sign one or two centre backs, I still think we're looking at a sale of Maguire or for Victor Lindelof potentially. But we're open to offers. Fenerbahce and Jose Mourinho interested in Lindelof, while United remain in talks as well with Johnny Evans over a new contract. So don't expect 3 centre backs. I think that brings us down to 2. I still think we need 2. I don't think just signing Matthijs de Ligt is going to be enough. We need left centre backs. We only have one left-footed centre back in our team, and it's Lisandro Martinez, who question marks over the availability. Obviously, fantastic player, really good when he has played for us. It's just keeping the guy fit does seem to be an issue at the minute. Bart said, am I glad the Ashworth saga is done? Absolutely. It's one of these ones, Bart. Look, when the story initially broke, we were all over it, and we were really covering it in a lot of depth. And it did seem to drag on for weeks and weeks, and then it went very quiet. We had a little bit of an uptick in the media attention when there was talk about Dan Ashworth taking Newcastle United to the Court of Arbitration and basically over the gardening leave, which wasn't contractually enforceable. Eventually, we got the job done. He's starting immediately, which can only be a good thing. Hopefully, he's starting tomorrow. Maybe that could be a good time. But look, having these guys who know what they're doing and who were entrusting with the power to shape Manchester United going forward through the door as soon as possible can only be a good thing for our football club in the long run. Bart said one thing, a new centre-back will do for United, as Leach is injury-prone, Lindelof is not physical enough, Maguire doesn't have recovery pace, Kambuala is green, Varane is gone, and Evans is old. Absolutely. Could replays back up to Hoyland? That's something I said the other day to Bath Time on the agenda. But yeah, look, definitely seem to be interested in De Ligt. It's not a bad price. I think that's key. You know, it's not a bad price for De Ligt, and if that does mean that we can bring 2 centre backs in, maybe that's a smart thing to do. Because I think we need to look, as Bart says, you know, Evans, 36 years old. Maguire, question marks if he's going to be here next season, doesn't have recovery pace. De Ligt's not the quickest either, don't get it twisted, but there does seem to be something in this one. Lindelof potentially being looked at by Fenerbahce, who have just signed Soyuncu as well in the last couple of moments. So Jose Mourinho looking to get some signings into Fenerbahce. Then you got Varane gone, you got Martinez, questionable availability. Kambuala still very young coming through. I think he's still 19 years old. So we do need more centre backs. Probably 2 centre backs, I think, is realistic. And hopefully we sign a left-footed centre back, someone who can come in and play on that left-hand side. For me, I think it had to have been Branthwaite. It doesn't look like it's going to be that one, but we'll see how things develop over the next couple of weeks. Really, transfer window starts now. Now, it's been open for a couple of weeks, we know this, but United's profit and sustainability rules, or FFP, restrictions are now off the table, thankfully. And that's with the COVID seasons now officially out of the books in the last 3 years, which is good. That means more money for us, so we can go on a little bit of a spending spree. We know Sir Jim's put money into the club as well. That's hopefully going to help us, and hopefully we can get some guys to come in and start to really shape the team. I guess another player who we could be talking about is Manuel Ugarte. Now, for me, I wouldn't call this guy first choice. For me, I would still prefer Amadou Onana. I would probably still prefer maybe Vifer, but he could end up going to Liverpool. I think we need someone a little bit different to Ugarte, but I think there's a good player in there. If he comes in, he can't be the only signing. If we went and got Ugarte and then got someone else in slightly cheaper, maybe Yusuf Fofana could be a really good example of that. Maybe then we can talk. But United expected to make a formal offer for Ugarte soon, says Pete Hall. The club see Kobbie Mainoo as more of a box-to-box midfielder and don't want him to be an out-and-out number 6 going forward. Hence, they find the need for a defensive midfielder. I think another caveat I would add to that, guys, would be Casemiro likely leaving in this summer transfer window. Has been talks with Saudi Arabia. Nothing's really come to fruition as of yet, but it will eventually start to get to that point. So, two good players there, I think. I've got Katie in the comments. Good to see you, Katie. Thanks for joining in. Been so chuffed all day since I got up to the Ashworth news. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's good to see us getting these guys in early doors for the rest of the window. I think Omar Barada officially is able to start from next week, which is also good. So that's a new CEO in, that's a new director of football in, that's also Jason Wilcox, our technical director, through the door. We got Blanc, we got Brailsford on the board, and we've got Sir Jim as well, all in. So that's good. You know, that's good for me. That's the kind of people we would want to have in charge of our footballing operations going into a big transfer window. Because this is going to be a big one, guys. You know, make no mistake about it. No doubt in my mind, this will be a very important window for Manchester United going forward. I have Rajat down there when I got De Ketelara or Sorloth, both good options. Bart said Ashworth has three-pronged policy for new players. One for the coach, one for the finances, and one for the scouts. Licha aggravated the one thing over and over again, says Rajad, yeah, that's concerning. You know, we don't want to see repeated injuries of the same kind happening to the player, because that might suggest a weakness in their body that they have picked up after the initial injury. Bart said December is very crowded with 9 games and the Liverpool games on the 5th of January. Ten Hag doesn't get 2 centre-backs and 2 centre-mids, he will be doomed. Absolutely. Rajad said you don't want De Ligt that much. Joe, I would be open to De Ligt. He wouldn't be my first choice. If I had to put the guys down below in the comments there on the poll options, in order of preference, Brantwick would be my number 1. I think you've got the quickest player there who can play left centre-back, right centre-back. He can cover really well in the wide spaces, very physical, dominant. Going to be a hard deal to do with Everton. I think De Ligt could be really good, but my concerns are injury and money. I think Todibo, I think that's a good deal if he can get it done on the cheap, but it does look like we're going to have to take UEFA to court to sign a player, which seems ridiculous in itself. Ignacio's another one. I haven't been overly impressed with him so far for Portugal in the Euros. I haven't really seen a lot of him at Sporting Lisbon, but wouldn't be my first choice. But he is a left-footed centre-back. Maybe that's something we do need to look at, because I don't think we can rely on Martinez to stay fit all season. And we've seen the difference when Martinez played last year in terms of what he was able to do on the ball, help us playing out, can play through the lines. If we need someone else to come in who can maybe be a backup kind of option. Outside of that, I got Rajat. Batman's going. Missed something there. What I've got as well. Bart said, I hope Dan and Eric see eye to eye. We will find out, buddy. Connor said, De Ligt United, here we go. I don't think we're at that point yet, man. I think it's a deal that looks to be heating up. We have Romano talking about interest from United and interest from De Ligt and making the move happen. Does look like he's aware he needs to leave Bayern Munich if they're signing 2 more centre-backs, and he already wasn't first choice. So it's about getting that one done. Hopefully he would take a pay cut, because 240 grand a week for a defender who might be injured a fair bit isn't great. But Sheldon says United have opened formal discussions with Bayern Munich over De Ligt. United's interest is also matched by Erik ten Hag, who coached De Ligt and at Ajax and is keen on bringing the Netherlands international to Old Trafford. So It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I don't think it would be my first choice, but I wouldn't say no to it. As long as we get both. I don't think he can be the only centre-back signing. If we get De Ligt and we don't sign another centre-back, we let one of Lindelof and Maguire go, then all of a sudden you're relying on De Ligt and Martinez to be fit, which, based on the past evidence over the last 2 seasons, they haven't managed to do so. You've got Johnny Evans as a backup and Kambuala. That's not great. That's not enough depth for me, and that's not enough quality depth. So I do think getting another centre-back in is going to be absolutely vital for us. Bart said we're mentally fragile. Look at the number of goals we concede late. Teams lack leaders. Yeah, I do. I agree with that. Maybe that's something why we would like to see Matthijs de Ligt. Maybe that's something we're thinking about, because this guy captained Ajax at age 18. This guy is experienced for his age. At 24, he's got a long time ahead of him in the game, but he's just got to start staying fit. I think that's going to be vital for him. I have Robert down there. Which Maguire will be sold so I can go to church for Thanksgiving? I'm not too sure, man. We'll find out about Harry Maguire pretty soon. I think one of Maguire and Lindelof go. I think one or the other go. And based on my gut feeling, it's probably going to be Victor Lindelof. There does seem to be interest from Fenerbahce in Lindelof. Lindelof probably played the least out of our centre-backs last season, and couple that with the fact that Jose Mourinho was the man who initially signed Victor Lindelof to come to United, maybe he's keen on a reunion. Maybe he sees something in there. He's already signed Soyuncu today, so it does look like Fenerbahce looking at something of a defensive overhaul. But look, I live to be surprised. I do live to be surprised, but I think we need 2 centre-backs, guys. Anyway, I guess what we will do, though, is move on to Joshua Zirkzee, a player who I think is getting pretty close to a deal. I would imagine, with AC Milan having pulled out of the transfer potentially for Zirkzee, that we've got a free run at this. There's been talks of Bologna. There's been talks about his agents as well. I would imagine the biggest issues with Joshua Zirkzee at the minute is the fact that he is currently on international duty with the Netherlands, and that's what I think is going to be the thing here. It's getting him out of the tournament and getting him available for talks and for medicals and stuff. But I would imagine now that his release clause is kicked in, it's a release clause for the next 6 weeks. I think that we might be able to get this one done pretty quickly if the Netherlands go out this week, either to Romania or potentially in a quarter-final. But I do like the look of Xerxi. I think that could be a really good young player for us. And it does look like we're signing some younger players. Someone has made a little list of players we have been linked to pretty strongly. We've got De Ligt, 24 years old, Xerxi, 22, Ugarte, 23, Brantwit, 21. Does look like we're going for younger players, which is good. I'm always a fan of younger players coming through, and I think it makes more sense because at the moment we're not in a position to sign players in their prime. Players in their prime want to go somewhere to go and win trophies. We have no guarantee of winning a trophy probably for the next 2 years, outside of cups maybe. But I don't think we're going to be lifting the Premier League next season. I live to be surprised, but I would be very surprised if that is the case. But either you go young or you go old, and I'm glad to see we're going with the younger options. Makes more sense to me, having players who are going to grow as the project builds, who will improve alongside the project, alongside the system and the tactics, and hopefully within a season or two we'll be in a position where we can add some big players in, save up those big wages to bring the bigger players in, and get the real difference makers on the pitch, the guys who are going to take us maybe from being a top 4 team to potentially being title challengers. I have lots of comments down below. Good evening to Stephanie and to Luman. Bart said, why did Lindelof sign from Benfica when they had Diaz? Mourinho's choice, buddy. Rajat said, what's up? Luman said, our Messiah now, Van Nistelrooy or Ashworth? Look, I'll say this. I don't think Dan Ashworth's a miracle worker. I think he's very good at what he does. I think his track record speaks for itself, and we've obviously been very impressed, to the point where we've waited and pushed this deal for months on end to finally get it over the line. So I would assume now that it's done, we're going to start seeing some action. And to me, look, you've got, I think, 7 days until Barada starts. So you've got your CEO in, you've got director of football in, you've got the technical directors, You have your board members in Brailsford and Blanc and Radcliffe as well. You know, you've got an influx of money coming in from Radcliffe's investment. You also have the COVID seasons being wiped off the books, so we can't afford to spend more. You've some big players on big wages leaving, and Varane, potentially Casemiro, Sancho, another one who could be gone. So for me, it does look like we're gearing up for a big transfer window. It's going to be exciting, guys. I have Bard as well. Nothing matters from here on in. Credit the new people from stopping the leaks. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that's a big one as well. I lack the leaks. Nobody knew that Dan Ashworth would be announced today. Nobody knew that we were in for some of these players until it seemingly has got quite advanced. I have as well Rajat and can't be scattergun. Gonna watch Portugal Sevilla. Yeah, it's on pretty soon. Should be watching that as well. Red says, "Is the lit done?" No, not yet, buddy. Does look like it's heating up though. I'll say it's heating up. Like based upon our stories, based upon the reports, looks like we are in talks with Bayern Munich. We've got something of a price from these guys, and it does look as well that there has been some kind of communication with the player agent. Just the typical stuff at this point of a deal. Nothing, and I will stress this as well, guys, I doubt anything will happen with Zirkzee or Ugarte or with De Ligt until they're done with their international tournaments this summer. It's unfortunate. It's going to push us back a little bit. It means we might have to wait a little bit longer on these deals getting done. But yeah, look, if Netherlands go out tomorrow night, then that's Xerxi and De Ligt suddenly available for talks. So that's a positive. Uruguay probably not a favourite to win Copa America this year. So that's another potential one. What have I got down here? I have Bart saying United should treat every single person as employees and nothing else. The balance sheet should be paramount. It should be, like, in a lot of ways. I think so. What have I got as well? And Noah Barada was going to let us get. Did I miss something there? Hi down there as well. El Casemiro by Zubimendi by Enzo Lafay instead of Ugarte, instead of De Ligt by Bastoni. Some good players there. Kitty is an OG as well. And Bart said credit to the Glazers. Okay, buddy. I don't think it's the Glazers who've been doing it. But look, this is a question I've been asking for a long time. We know that the Glazers wanted to prioritise the balance sheet and try and make as much money out of the club. I never quite understood why they never gave the people who could do that there and managed to make really good signings for cheaper the power to do it. I don't know why that was ever a thing, but obviously the Glazers weren't the only issue at our football club. Freestyle sign there. If I was United owner, I would sell Varane, Maguire, Lindelof, Amrabat, Lissandro, Shaw, Bissaka, Rashford, Anthony, and Bruno. A lot of sales there. Bart said yesterday I understood how he had a fan field. Yeah, man. It's a world of frustration. It's a world of just questioning yourself and just wondering what are we doing with ourselves. But it is what it is, guys. Does look like De Ligt, Ugarte, Xerxi are going to be the first 3 deals that we're working on at the minute. How far we go with them, whether we get them all, I guess remains to be seen. We'll want to get a good price from PSG. Apparently, they're looking around 50 million. I think we're going to try and get him maybe for 35, 40. I think De Ligt, if we can get him for about 40, they'd be happy. Xerxi's got a buyout clause as well of about 35, so maybe you are looking at 110 million pounds worth of players there, focusing some sales, bring some more in, because I don't think 3 players is going to cut it. I think we need more than 3 in this window. I'm talking maybe 5 or 6 ideally, but it's good news to have a lot of things done. According to Muppeteers, expect announcements of Ten Hag's new contract and the coach within the next few days. Expecting Ashworth and senior individuals to be present this week as well for that part. Talks are due with senior players next week ahead of their return to training. Number of players waiting to understand their position in the team and deciding whether or not to take moves, as is the case with McTominay and Maguire. I've been spoken about keeping an eye on Rashford's situation, which also remains calm at the moment, and no active talks with other clubs, but clarity will be done needed as well. So that's all things to look out for according to Muppeteers. Some interesting news coming out there. I feel like we have these talks every season, to be honest, but it's good to be having them. It's good to be having these dialogues with our players, and I think that's good. You know, communication is going to be key as well, and sometimes our communication with our own players has been pretty bad at the club. You know, a lot of players were surprised that Ten Hag was even staying in the first place. You know, they were under the impression he was going to get sacked. Steph says we have 51 votes and only 19 likes. Yes, guys, drop a like on the video if you can. Would be a lot it would be really appreciated a lot as well. Let me just check one thing as well. Big ups to the 3 new subscribers so far in today's stream. Freestyle said, but it's still done already. No, it's not done yet, buddy. It's not done. Make no mistake about it. It's the same for Zirkzee. It will be the same for De Ligt. It will be the same for Ugarte and any other club that we probably have dealings with who have players abroad. They will not be leaving international tournaments in quarterfinal stages, in semi-final stages, to come talk to other clubs, to do medicals. Their focus will be on Euro 2024. It will be on Copa America 2024, and that's going to be the key focus for a lot of the players out there. So until we see Uruguay go and get knocked out, maybe, until we maybe see the Netherlands get knocked out, then you're probably going to be waiting a while. But of course, we can talk to players who aren't at the Euros. We can talk to players who've been knocked out of the Euros. Those deals maybe can get a little bit of a purse as well in the right direction. I think that's what the club might want to do, is get the deals lined up for players coming off international duty, work on the deals for the players that they can do now, and hopefully we can get as much done as possible, because the tour is coming up very soon, guys. Tour is coming up 2024, and it does look to be quite a big tour. I feel like it maybe caused us a few issues last season, but the pre-season is beginning fairly soon, maybe sooner than a lot of us realise, with all our focus being on the Euros and Copa America and transfers and Dan Ashworth and all that there. But we are getting up to the initial tour. The first match is in 2 weeks today against Rosenborg. I think, yeah, against Rosenborg. Then we play Rangers, Arsenal and Real Betis, and probably another match or two as well, somewhere in there. But 2 weeks today until pre-season begins. Bart said Dewsbury Hall is a good player. Yeah, he is a good player. Chelsea got a pretty good deal there, to be fair. Steph says July is moving month for transfers. If we can't get 3 signings in before the tour and remove the unwanted, could be another painful window. Hopefully not, Steph. Hopefully we can get our deals done. I think that, going by a lot of our reports that we have seen in the last couple of weeks, we're going to try purse the player sales before tour as well. So you're looking at Sancho, you're looking at Casemiro, you're looking at Greenwood and the likes for that as well. Bart said preseason is a little long and topsy-turvy. Yeah, last season was really, really weird. Last season we played 7 or 8 matches. We played in Norway, we played in Scotland, we played in Old Trafford, we played in Dublin and America as well. But yeah, look, pre-season does look to be Rosenborg on the 15th, 2 weeks today. 5 days later, we play Rangers as well. Then we play Arsenal the week after that. We play Real Betis on the 31st and Liverpool on the 3rd of August. And then we have the Community Shield, of course, as well for our FA Cup triumph. That is on the 10th of August. So lots and lots of Manchester United matches to be covering in the next couple of weeks. It'll be good to see the team out again. Hopefully we can get some new deals in as well. Freestyle says, people comparing United and England match yesterday. Yeah, look, England were pretty poor yesterday, and it was a pretty bad watch. Probably you could have said that about a lot of our matches last season, unfortunately. And Bart said last season we racked up 100,000 miles. No wonder we were knackered against Wolves. Yeah, I mean, we were knackered from the first match. We were getting overrun every single match. And really, I remember back to that Wolves match. We did a watch along on the channel, and a lot of us were really frustrated and saying, why did we have that there? Bart said, sorry, man, Tata said I missed an early comment. Let me check, buddy. I'll have a look. Were the Glazers missing a link between, like, Radcliffe, between them and the club all these years? I always told you it's the people running the club who've let down the Glazers. No, I would say it's still the Glazer fault. The guys who they picked to run the club were their selections, and they're always going to be responsible for those. In the same way that players that Eric Ten Hag has really pushed for, a lot of the responsibility for them not working out will fall on him. In the same way that if we sign a player now, it'll be on the new regime because they're doing the footballing stuff. It'll be up on them. Matthijs said I lost $70 in England yesterday. Bart said took United 17 flights in pre-season. On top of that, a road journey in San Diego. Yeah, absolutely. Kelly said, come on, after the start, touching the new kit. Yes, exactly. New kit is out as well, guys. Looks pretty good. Does look pretty good, to be fair. I'm a fan of it. Do you know what it looks like? It's like I'll try see if I can load a photo of it up. Maybe it kind of looks like the same shape and the same kind of sponsorship from Snapdragon that we had with Vodafone. So we kind of like the round circle and the text underneath it. It's a nice looking kit. I'm excited to see the away kits and the third kits. I always think they're a little bit more exciting, but I don't know. I think Ineos, sorry, not Ineos, Adidas have been pretty a little bit boring, I'll say, with our kit selection. Maybe some of them not overly iconic, I guess, but maybe that's just because of the way the team's been playing in them as well. Maybe that's what makes the kits. You know, when we look at the kits of years gone by, we can near point to what trophies we won that year's, and maybe this year's. You know, in the last 10 years, it's been more a case of did we finish top 4 in this kit? Like, you know, that's kind of what we've been asking ourselves. Or say, what did Barada do at City? Barada had. He wasn't CEO. Let me double check that there one for you, buddy, because you actually have me a little bit confused as well. Well, not confused, but just not remembering. Let me Google that. I think Omar Barada was the chief of football operations. I'll assume that's pretty close to CEO kind of role. I'm not too sure what that entails. Obviously, everyone's going to be different. Ketty loves it, especially the long sleeve one. Snapdragon fits much better. Yeah, it does, I think. You know, the last couple of sponsorships haven't been the best. I wasn't a big fan of the Chevrolet kit. And even the more recent ones, maybe not the best, will we say? Maybe just not quite the best, but I don't know. I'm happy with it. I am happy with it. Team Viewer wasn't the best. Maybe we had some pretty rotten seasons with them as well. Bart said United lost to non-league Wrexham last season. Yeah, it was a weird one though, man, because it was basically an academy team plus like Johnny Evans. That was the team, and you know, we had a couple of matches like that. I seen United in Dublin, and it was basically all academy players, bar Sancho up front, Harry Maguire, and Johnny Evans. You know, it was really, really weird. Bart also says CEO is the Barcelona guy, Ferran Sorio or Chiqui as well. Yeah, he's whatever a chief football operations officer is. I don't know what that is. Like, I'm not going to pretend to know either. Everyone is going to be different as well. Steph says Starstruck versus Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, and look, I will say this, Bart. Wrexham were a League Two team at the time. You know, they just got promoted, so let's call a spade a spade. Nah, but it wasn't good. Like, and I remember watching it. It's weird because we played like back-to-back matches. It was like 3 a.m. in San Diego, and I was just like, yeah, like I'm not just sitting up to do a watch along for that. But yeah, like we'll probably do some preseason watch alongs. I think we play Rangers. I think we play Rangers in Murrayfield as well. Yeah. I'll just let me have a little look here. We play Arsenal and Liverpool in Los Angeles. And we play Real Betis at the Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. Okay. Rangers, Murrayfield. Rosenborg is in Rosenborg as well. So that'll be a fun one. You know, we'll definitely do some watching for that. Steph said Cantona advert with Snapdragon kit, very good. Yeah, I liked it. It was good. Fergie in it as well. Pretty good one. And like some good quotes, and it's all about passion and stuff. Kelly said Barado's actually been groomed to take over as CEO. Nicked him just in time. Let's hope he's good. You know, I'll take that as a vote of confidence, because City unfortunately are very well run, even though they are corrupt, and yeah, they've got all those charges. Like, they're still a well run team in terms of their buying and their selling and stuff. So yeah, like I'll take confidence from that. Do I have a Rangers shirt? Says Bart. No, I don't, buddy. I don't have a Celtic one either. Like, I'm not really into Scottish football too much. Like, I might watch an Old Firm if it's on TV, but even at that, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. So, it is what it is. Not the biggest fan. When will I appear on the agenda? I would say sometime this week, probably. I'll talk to Bath Time about it. But yeah, look, so some interesting ones anyway. I don't know if anyone's seen it. There's like a clip of a Monday from the agenda gone kind of viral for wearing like this really ultra realistic bald cap, and it just gets it like pulled off his head. But by like some hairstylist or prosthetic people. I don't know how I got into that situation, but it was a good one. But yeah, I'll imagine I'll be on the agenda at some point. Well, this week I'll probably talk to Bath Time about it. I don't know, maybe even tomorrow. I'll see what he's doing. But we'll find out. We'll find out. Look, guys, I think what we're going to do is leave the stream here because I'm positive you guys are going to drop off to watch Portugal versus Slovenia, as you should. I'm going to do the same. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Really do appreciate it. Enjoy the match, and I'll get talking to everybody again tomorrow.